Welcome to another episode of StuTube. Thank you once again for joining me on this channel here, you guys. Thank you for joining me for this live stream. Guys, I want to take a look at Bitcoin on several different time frames. Honestly, I do have my concerns, but there's good news and bad news as well. I want to take a look at a bunch of altcoins because the market has honestly just the last couple days been getting hammered. But is it anything out of the ordinary? Should we worry? I think it's time to be cautious, but there's a couple things I want to go over. So right off the bat, I want to jump out to the weekly. I'd like to start zoomed out, work my way in. I've been talking about this trend line for this horizontal line here for a long time now, right around that 90.5K, somewhere in there. This weekly level is what this has been my line in the sand. I really want this structure to hold because looking at this as a very immediate swing, right? But as far as the structure goes on this uptrend, we have this as a high because we had our little pause, our little pullback with our red, followed by a higher high. So since we ended up breaking that level, this is now my confirmed higher low on the trend. Yes, it's micro-analyzing the trend, but that's how I like to look at very immediate swings like this. And as long as we hold that as support, and guys, support is support until it's broken. It always looks scary. Support always looks weak until it doesn't. So, I mean, right now we are still technically at support. So not all hope is lost yet. What I am quite concerned about with this right now is the RSI. The weekly RSI, relative strength index. You can see that, we have been overbought for quite some time. For those of you guys who have been tuning in here for the last several weeks, know I've been talking about this. In a bull market, in an uptrend, a very strong uptrend, I love seeing overbought conditions. A lot of people think that means overbought, but what it really means is just the relative strength is excessively strong, right? There's just a shit ton of buying pressure, a shit ton of strength in the bulls. But what I don't like is once we lose that, we have now escaped that overbought territory. And yeah, sure, maybe it's just cooling off a little bit, but just seeing this little divergence, it just looks like we are losing strength very fast as we're approaching this support. So if we end up dropping this support, so this is ifs at this point. It hasn't happened yet, but if we do drop below this level, I think there's an excellent chance that everyone starts getting very bearish and starts FOMOing into shorts, looking to catch that direct move down. But I think it's more likely that we would just end up reclaiming this support, jumping back above it. But that at that point, I think that the trap would be set. I think at that point, that's our bearish structure break. And as long as the RSI stays below this overbought conditions, if it reclaims it, then fine. You know what? At that point, I would be willing to accept that I think we're going to continue going higher because the strength got excessive again. What I'm worried about is that if we're attacking the same level of resistance after a bearish structure break with significantly less strength in the trend, that's where I'm going to have my very serious concerns, and I am going to be not very popular on social media for a while. I'm probably going to lose followers again, just like what happened back here at this level. It's very similar structure to what I was looking at here, right? We end up losing this just going below this, right? Because actually that's not even a good example on the weekly. It was actually on the 4 hour is where it was. Where was that? Back here, we had the same type of structure, right? Where we end up losing that. Yes, it's very immediate. Even if you wanted to go down a little bit lower, something like this, either way, you lost that structure. And then we pull back up to those Stuber fibs. Everybody gets FOMO. We get rejected. We set a new lower low, pulled up to a bigger Stuber fib level there, set a new lower low, come to a new Stuber fib, and just to show you, like, as we set from here, here's our low, then here's our lower low, going from the highest point between the two, pulling a fib down to our new lowest low, look where we end up getting rejected. And this right here was exactly when Trump was doing a speech about Bitcoin. Everybody told me I was wrong to be bearish because Trump was going to send Bitcoin straight to the moon, straight past the moon, straight to frickin' Pluto. Everyone was very bullish at that point. The FOMO posts on social media were ridiculous. I was warning that we were at a Stuber fib, perfect sell the news event, and we absolutely nuked from there. Yes, we recovered from there. Eventually that downtrend broke, but we got that same type of bearish swing 3 or 4 times. And those were very profitable swings. And I was very unpopular on social media because people did not like that I was bearish. People do not want to hear anything other than their moon boy bias, right? So basically, if we end up getting that on the weekly chart now, I'm going to have my concerns. And as long as the RSI does get some sort of a crazy divergence, you know, if we set some sort of a double top where the RSI, and this is very theoretical, right? But let's say we lose this support, come back up, something like so, probably test the candle bodies there on the side here, followed by another move to the downside. And in that case, I would expect the RSI to look basically something like so. So if we get something like that where the RSI does have that very looking bearish divergence, as we break structure and come back up, it'd probably be something like so. Yeah, see, you eventually can start to eyeball them pretty good. That would be our bearish structure break. That's the pullback to the Stuber fibs, the 786, 886, and that's where I'd be looking for a rejection. At that point, do I think the bull market is over at that point? Honestly, I don't have a clue. At this point, I mean, I'm not going to tell the charts what to do because they don't give a shit what I think. The markets really do not give a shit about my opinions or my feelings. They make that very clear all the time. But I just think at that point I would be bearish until we start seeing bullish structure breaking on at least the 4 hour or something like that. I would be expecting something like, you know, at least a move down to the 0.5 fib. The full Stuber target would be the 214 fib. That would be down. That would be if we got a bounce up to 104K and then dropping back down all the way to 92K basically. And that would just be basically the Stuber range target. And from there, if that is the end of the bull market, because you know what, we had the big hyped event where the Trump government coming in, they're going to apparently market buy trillions of dollars worth of Bitcoin at an all-time high. They're going to FOMO in like that with trillions of dollars. That seems to be the consensus on social media, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous because I personally think if they're going to do, I mean, it says right in the name, strategic Bitcoin reserve, they aren't going to FOMO and just market by the top, right? They would be a lot more strategic if they, you know, didn't do any favors right off the bat for the price and tried to force it down a little bit where they could accumulate, you know, at the bottom of the bear market like a smart investor would, which smart investors are now going to be running the country. So I don't think, I mean, absolutely, maybe it does spark some FOMO. Maybe we do get a massive leg to the upside. The thing is, all of my theories are just theories at this time, and I'm not going to act on them until the certain structure forms. Any trade I take, I'm going to do what I always do, start the beginning of my position as a scalp and hope to catch a runner with the rest kind of a thing. And also I'll have my invalidations. You know, if we get this kind of a setup, quite honestly, I'm looking at selling a whole bunch of my crypto if we do end up getting this setup. But that being said, if the bull market continues, am I going to get wrecked? Absolutely not, because I am going to be ready to buy back in if this gets invalidated. Yes, I will miss, in that case, I'll miss this move, basically, and then I'll just buy back in with a little bit less. I would consider it a lost spot trade because I would end up with a little bit less coins. But that's fine. That's just another lost trade. That's invalidations at that point. I'm not stuck in my theory that, no, this has to be a bear market. I don't care if we're at 120,000 now. We're still in a bear market. No, I am going to react to the price. And that's why this is set up right now. Just how we have dropped out of the overbought conditions and why I see that I think it's quite likely we do take out this support. Don't be surprised if we get a bounce, some sort of a relief rally after breaking that structure. Honestly, neither would surprise me. That's a serious level. We might see panic set in right away. But if we don't, I still think that we're going to get some sort of a rejection up here. And honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if it was on, you know, closer to January 20th, for example. But we're just going to have to see how the chart plays out, right? Because on a weekly chart like this, even if this did play out, this doesn't mean like today, tomorrow. This means that it would take several weeks, if not months, to actually play out and turn into some sort of a massive reversal, right? So I just want to put it on the radar because so many people just want to be bullish only. And I think it's important to be ready for both things because if we break these levels and then we start bouncing to these levels, it's going to be very hard to not get FOMO as we approach all-time highs again. So that's just where it's easier to keep a level head when we can look way ahead, keep mentioning it, keep it on our horizon, and then react accordingly if it happens, right? But so far on the 4 hour, one thing is we did get this bullish structure break back here. I had posted in the in the pro signals that it made sense that with breaking this structure, that it still made sense that we would pull back to some sort of a Stuber fib, because whether it's the weekly chart like I was just showing, or it's the 4 hour chart, more typically you guys see me posting about the 1 minute and the 5 minute charts. I treat them the same though. Yes, they take longer to play out, but structure is structure, right? And basically every time frame kind of acts the same with that regards. So to see us come down here, I mean, this Stuber fib setup has not been invalidated yet, this bullish one here. So technically right now it's almost looking like just a very small liquidity grab, kind of looking like a double bottom here. What is the don't quite have the RSI divergence I was hoping for, but I mean, we are kind of getting to that support level on the RSI. So to go with this double bottom here, I mean, yeah, it doesn't look so bad at this point, because like I said, support is support until it's broken. It's really the weekly chart that I'm concerned about. Right now, I have no idea what's going to happen, but I don't really want to be FOMO shorting into support like where we are right now. I would rather be looking for longs at this point. That being said, I'm still interested in looking at short scalps and then hoping that they turn into a runner. It's just that I don't want to bank on the fact that, yet support's dropping, we're going straight down to 85K kind of a thing. No, I don't think that's necessarily true. We're just going to have to see what happens. But yeah, 4 hour. Let's get rid of the RSI here. I do have Trump's date here, just so that I can keep an eye on that. Just make sure that it doesn't slip my mind. Actually, I wanted to bring up the trend master indicator, because something else caught my eye earlier, and that is another strategy that I love pointing out to you guys every single stream. What happened here is our trend changed, or potentially changed, I should say. I love seeing when we have the sell signals and the buy signals trending the same direction on the trend master indicator. So this is the 4 hour, and obviously that calls some very nice moves, right? But what happened recently is we did end up printing a lower buy signal followed by a lower sell signal. So even if we get some kind of a bounce here, we might really struggle anywhere from, call it 96K up towards 98K. I think absolutely it makes sense that we would struggle with some sort of resistance in this area. Just because with the downward trending indicators like this, I think it's quite likely that this sell trend actually holds as resistance. Something else I would be interested in is, even if we do bounce, let's say that gets invalidated and we actually bounce significantly higher, just the fact that these are trending to the downside makes me think that as far as a 4 hour setup, I don't know if I would want to bet against that, honestly. It could be invalidated at any time. If we climb higher and set a higher start setting higher buys and higher sells again, then yeah, absolutely, the trend looks great. But right now on the 4 hour, this is concerning to me. Even if we end up bouncing a little bit higher, invalidating this sell signal, I would be strongly considering the option of shorting some sort of a Stuber fib up at these levels, just pulling from our previous, or just more immediate high, our recent high rather. I think that would be quite likely. And especially, here's another thing to go with that actually, is even though I'm talking about this being a double bottom right now, technically it did set a very smaller lower low, right? So we technically have this low, lower low. As far as a typical Stuber fib setup goes, that's basically the entry that I would be looking at, somewhere in here, starting to ladder in short entries. So, you know, there is starting to be red flags. Another thing is, I think it would make a lot of sense to get a third touch point on a resistance. Look how well that would line up if we did get something like that. Obviously very theoretical at this point, you guys. I'm not saying this is how it's going to play out. But it would not surprise me if we end up, and I see this quite often, where we get our third touch point of resistance right on a Stuber fib retrace, something like that. So again, just things to be cautious of if we do get these moves, because obviously when we're looking at a weekly or a 4 hour, they're going to take a long time to play out. So, you know, I'm not going to be with you guys when we're trading if we get this kind of price action, right? But just all things to watch out for, you guys. Because when I'm looking for, especially when I'm looking for more so trend lines and chart patterns, looking for, you know, pennants and stuff like that, one of my big rules is, and everyone has their own, right? But one of my personal ones is I won't play breakouts unless there's 3 exact touch points before breaking out. So I would actually kind of start getting bullish if we got a third perfect touch point on this trend line, because at that point, if it breaks out after that, I think it's a valid trend line that could flip from resistance into support. Whereas if it only has these 2 touch points ahead of time and then ends up breaking out, I think it's quite likely that it was just actually a fake out and we just end up trending back down to the downside. So again, just a few different things that I'm going to be looking for from a few different angles, right? Right now, go into some shorter time frames. Something I would consider if we end up, you know, right now, something you could look for as far as a bullish setup would be something like so. We never did quite get that Stuber fib pullback right here. So, you know, if we just keep chasing the price where the price is, I'd be considering taking some sort of a long in this area. The Stuber fib specifically would be something like so. Something we could watch for at this point. I don't know. Right now, guys, I don't know. Things are a little sketchy right now. Things are looking weak. Honestly, we've seen it in the altcoin market. So many of my coins, I mean, don't get me wrong, my AI coins the last couple weeks have been absolutely crushing it. Thousands of percents on some of them. Absolutely beautiful. However, today they're getting decimated, right? I'm seeing a lot of minus 20%. 30% I've seen, you know, seen some pretty big corrections today. So something to consider is that altcoins are getting absolutely hammered. There is a little bit of fear in the market. So we're going to have to be really watching this weekly support, in my opinion, guys. Again, if we end up losing this support, I am going to be very bearish. But that doesn't mean that I'm instantly going to be FOMO shorting, hoping for a move down here. Understand that the price can react to that structure break. It can get a reaction rally. And in my opinion, this would be the perfect opportunity for a bull trap. Social media, like I said, would be going crazy, talking about how, oh yeah, this is it. We're breaking all-time highs again. And maybe we do, right? Like I said, this setup could totally get invalidated. But it's looking more and more likely, just how it seems like we're losing strength. Indicators are starting to point to the downside. Here's another one. Actually, that Stuber fib was already invalidated. But yeah, like I said, I think there's a valid one here. So yeah, a lot to consider right now. What is the trend master? We got another sell signal. So here's the one thing. We still do have upward trending sell signals now, upward trending buy signals. What else? What's the 5 minute looking like? I'd really like to see something good on the 5. I mean, we did break this structure here, but again, I think it would make sense to pull back to the Stuber fib still, even if it was going to turn bullish here. So I do think short term we could see a pullback. Kind of see down around 91.5 again. Really wouldn't surprise me. XRP. Let's check on my old buddy XRP here. XRPness. All right. Let's just remove some drawings. Oh, I didn't want to remove those drawings. Or did I? The hell am I doing here? Let's go back to my weekly chart. Here we go. There we go. That's the one that I had outlined for a long time. So this is a perfect example, right? This is obviously a much bigger scale, but it is the weekly chart. And notice that once again, guys, that 786, 886 fib pocket, there was so many bullish posts happening right here. And I actually warned on my Twitter that I thought we were going to see a correction. That day, I literally had 4 non-crypto people message me that I know personally, who started asking me about XRP that day. There was so many red flags. And honestly, this chart, being that it did this 400 or 500% breakout from this little trend line here, right into that fib pocket. I mean, XRP loves to have explosive moves and then slowly bleed off. I would not be surprised at all if, XRP never does break its all-time highs this cycle. It absolutely could, if the market's going to get insanely bullish. We do get a crazy altcoin cycle yet. Yeah, it's probably going to break all-time highs just like a bunch of coins will. But understand, if the market does take a turn for the worst in the near future here, a lot of people might be round tripping that one again, because they were so certain that now that those legal fights are over and, XRP to the moon, XRP is going to $1,000 and all these ridiculous price targets. Maybe it goes higher, but you got to understand the market cap of XRP is already very high. It is one of the top 5 cryptos, and to pump right into this level, it was just time to be cautious is all. Even if it breaks out, I think it's just for people who got into XRP down with a proper support level, buying at support during the market cycles, and then caught this breakout move, it would be so... I guess just dangerous, in my opinion, to not be taking profit. It's just greedy. That's a perfect resistance level, and I'm not surprised at all to see us pulling back from that level. We even ended up getting that bearish Stuber fib here, and we've just been kind of trending to the downside since testing that, right? If we pull from this high to where we broke that low, look where the price got rejected, you guys. There's a reason why I always pull these fibs and look for that 786, 886. Like XRP is a perfect example. There was your short. We lost structure levels. We lost supports on this uptrend. And then we pulled back to that level. We broke support. We still got that pump to the upside. FOMO got crazy again right at that resistance fib. And then the price ended up dumping again. So just understand that's how it works. Just because a structure level breaks, if you hear me or Viking or Zeus or any one of the other coaches during our streams, if you hear anybody say like, oh yeah, we broke this level, it's bearish, that can still include a pullback, right? That doesn't mean go all in on a short right now. That's not necessarily how you play it. I know most people love being breakout traders, but that's also why most people are not profitable traders. The risk reward, it's just dangerous. Yeah, sometimes breakouts trade great and they turn out great, but if you have a back-tested set of rules for trading breakouts and you're actually taking profits and that kind of thing, then sure. But just understand that these pullbacks do happen as well. And then you have such tighter risk reward, right? Because, invalidation just above these highs here, that's a nice tight invalidation where you could be buying back in if we break, just like what I was talking about on Bitcoin with the weekly, right? If I'm wrong, I'm going to lose a bit of my crypto because I'll be selling some, and I'll be having to buy it back in that case. But we'll see what happens when the time comes. Sorry, just want to keep my eyes on Bitcoin here. Perfect, still going to the downside. I actually, you guys, I haven't looked at, I know I have trades open on 2 accounts right now, and I really got to just check on them. Good. I have one Bitcoin scalp open. Sorry about the dog. 92,623 is where I had it open. Hasn't been stopped out yet. It's actually trading quite nicely here. I know I have a Grifane short open. Yeah, that's my only other position. Grifane. So Grifane, actually, a lot of you guys probably caught it in the altcoin chat. I had posted that. Hey, Grifane did get this structure break here where we had this high and a higher high. So I pulled a fib from the lowest point between the two. we end up bouncing right off that 786, 886 fib pocket. My average entry was right in the middle. Rode it all the way up. I was taking profits along the way. I never caught the whole move with the whole position or anything like that, but I was just taking profits on the way up. And I actually ended up taking a hedge right at the top just because there was a bearish Stuber on I think it was a 1 minute chart. And I was like, you know what? This position is in, I think it was at that point, my long was at like 350% or something. I was like, it would be a damn shame to lose the rest of this. So I opened up a hedge short, just 1-to-1 with the remainder of my position, as more of an insurance play than anything. I was not bearish at the time. It was just strictly for insurance purposes. And we ended up dumping to the downside. Rest of my long ended up getting stopped out, and that short is still running. I have been taking nibbles off of that short as well, even though it was a much smaller position than the original long. I only have about a quarter position of this one left open at this point, and it is currently up 268%. My average entry actually did change. I added into my position, so I have been short from this level, but I did add in at one point on the way down. After taking profits, I added back in. So my average entry is actually now down here at 47.8. So still a beautiful position. Nothing to worry about there. Have taken juicy profits off that. But yeah, that was just a hedge position. Just to protect myself. So that's where, once you kind of start hedging positions and stuff like that, when you do it properly like that, I mean, it removes so much of the stress from the market, because at that point I didn't care what happened, right? I was in a long from down here. I was in a short from up here. Whatever happened in between, eventually I was going to cut one loose. The long got stopped out on the rest, and I've been riding the short ever since. So just totally stress-free on that trade. Love to see it. As far as this short goes, I know I have a take profit set right in here somewhere, just because we had this higher high up here. I know I had a fib pulled something like that. And I know I have a partial profit somewhere just above this. Let me actually check. Oh, never mind. That was my thought, and I don't have one set. Whoops. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. Let me just at least adjust my stop loss to break even here real quick before I continue on. Just so I have nothing to worry about if we run a little long here, I stop paying attention or whatever. So I do want to mention a couple other altcoins, you guys. I do want to talk about Trio, because I know a lot of people have their concerns with this one. I also have a couple concerns with this one at this point. My reasoning for that is that, in my opinion, we had a structure change here. Even though this is just a big ugly wick, we did so this would have been, we had our higher high, here's our higher low. We did break that level, and we even turned it into resistance. I really don't like to see that. What I do like is that it seems like the sellers are exhausted. I mean, we got into such a tightly coiled range here that if we do break any structure here, even just taking out some, kind of the immediate resistance here, I mean, I think it's quite likely that it gets a big volume spike, just a big spike in price. But the thing is with this coin, the trade volume's so low that it does get these crazy wicks and stuff like that. So if you are trading it, be a little bit careful. I would not use market order with size. I would definitely use limit orders myself. But yeah, just I have my own concerns. But at the end of the day, if we want to look for bullish targets, I mean, technically we just have this real big range right here. And if the market is going to be okay in the long run, we are still technically in the macro bullish Stuber fib, basically right in the middle towards the bottom. So yes, the price looks weak, but again, the price always looks weak as we're trading into support. So as it stands right now, I mean, if you're someone who believes in the project and you think that the bull market is going to carry on, I mean, I think it's better to be buying at this level, let's say, rather than up at like $4 or $5, right? rather than FOMO buying. At least you're waiting for some sort of a reasonable reason to believe there's support here, right? So yeah, that doesn't, like I said, I have my concerns that we lost this immediate higher low on the trend. But I like that the overall trend, we are still holding the Stuber fib. So not all hope is lost there yet, in my opinion. Based AI, I know this is another one that I've been looking at. I had mentioned in the altcoins chat as well at one point that I thought it was quite likely we end up dropping back down to the Stuber fib. We absolutely have. I don't like that we aren't really getting a strong bounce off this level, but again, support is support until it isn't. Support is support until it breaks, and it hasn't yet. So this is kind of where we had this downtrend here to the downside, nice little wedge there. We end up breaking that structure, and then we end up eventually pulling back to a 786, right? So if this was a 5-minute chart or a 1-minute chart with Bitcoin, this is kind of exactly what I would be looking at laddering into a long position for. So yes, it's absolutely possible that it gets invalidated and we end up losing these lows and crashing further. It's absolutely possible, but I'd always rather be buying support rather than be FOMO buying into a breakout is kind of the mentality behind a Stuber fib, for example. Just a structured way to buy pullbacks, basically, or short bounces, right, on bearish structure. IQ, I know this is one that a lot of people have been into in the community. This one has played absolutely phenomenally for me. I think at one point I was up about 70x on the little bit of a position I still have left. I have been taking profits on the way, but yeah, this was absolutely beautiful. Rocket, if you're in here, thank you for the shout out on that one before. But this is one of those times, guys, I was talking about higher trending buy and sell signals. When it comes to spot buying positions, I mean, I treat it very different than leverage trading. I'm a lot less into exact entries and more so into just buying a trend. And that's what I really love the Trend Master indicator for. Probably my favorite strategy for buying altcoins, especially low cap altcoins or coins that are just kind of new on the market and you're just kind of starting to get signals on them. They can be such big moves, right? So just IQ, for an example, after we got that buy signal, come back to the trend, we ended up getting, well, 1100% to the upside from that signal. So absolutely a monster of a trade. And same with Citadel. We ended up getting, I guess, our first higher buy, higher sell, higher buy signal. From there, where did we top out? That was a 1760% move to the upside from where that trend happened. So that's where I love these signals. Like I said, for spot buying, one of my favorite strategies with that. So this one's been an absolute monster. Honestly, still looking pretty good to me. I just want to change my colors here. So one thing that I like about this is Citadel is still holding its higher low support because this is where we had our high and our higher high. So this was the lowest point between the two. The low and our higher high, neither has been broken. So therefore, that range is still intact. Nothing has changed. All of this in the middle is just noise. We are still holding a nice uptrend with the buy signals here. This is on the 1 hour. Hopping over to the 4 hour. Same thing, right? We had this high, higher high, the low between the two. And notice where our higher low lines up right now is where this buy trend, actually there's not even a buy signal yet on this on the 4 hour chart. So, I mean, it's going to largely depend what happens to the market in general, in my opinion. But what I like to see is this thing doesn't even have any signals on the 4 hour yet. So, I mean, if it gets a buy signal, I expect it to get a very nice move. If we can start seeing trending buy signals to the upside, I mean, this thing's going to go absolutely nuts. But obviously, we have to see what happens, right? I mean, that's going to take a while to play out. I don't know how much data they need on the charts here to start printing signals, but that is something that I'm watching for. Based AI is actually another one that I'm considering the same thing on the daily chart. Trendmaster. looking a little bit weak, but we're still holding that daily Stuber fib. This is another one where if we end up reclaiming this, so it's actually trying to turn blue again here, so it's trying harder to turn into a sell trend. But if we get back above it, I think it's only a matter of time until we end up seeing a daily buy signal. And in my opinion, on a fairly new coin like this, well, an extremely new coin, as long as the market's going to continue, the AI narrative is going to continue running, and we start seeing those early signals with the indicators, I think that would be an extremely powerful buy signal in that case. But we're going to have to see, right? That's not there yet. It's just kind of something, again, I'm looking ahead to see if we end up getting it. Buzz or Hive AI, ever since we got that Stuber fib I laid out in the micro chat that one day, we did end up absolutely blasting off from there. Oh god. Ended up blasting off from that Stuber retest. Classic 786 test there. What did we end up getting there? I know I've sold a little bit of this on the way. I still have most of my bag, but yeah, we got a 250% move off that. So beautiful entry there. We do have this double top here. This did concern me yesterday, and honestly, one of the reasons why I ended up selling a little bit. Was that right before bed or right when I woke up? I can't remember, but basically I saw this opportunity as a possible double top just in case I was going to take a little bit of a nibble of profits off that one, because you never know what's going to happen, right? I'm a big believer in taking profits along the way. Trying to hit home run trades every time, it usually isn't going to work out. Yes, sometimes you end up catching those big ones, like I said, with IQ, for example. Yeah, you know, I wish I would have went all in on it because I got a 70x, but that's just not proper risk management. Taking profits along the way, just like any trade position, basically, right? Back to Bitcoin. You know, actually, I think we are more likely to get this full Stuber fib pullback. I don't think we'll get one from here. So here's something that will make this look. This will look very similar. However, it is a little bit different. Whereas rather than this being the high and this being the higher high, notice that technically we set this as our high, this as our higher high. This would have been our higher low, and another higher high, and that's our higher low. So yes, again, very micro analyzing. It's just a bit of a warning shot. It's messy. I don't know if that's going to be strong, a strong structure level or not, but it is something to consider that a bullish Stuber pulled from this level here. I'm not considering that as much because I just think that if this is a reversal and we're going to test back to the bottom of the range, I think it's going to be the full range where the bottom is that we ended up breaking some structure. And I think that's this full fib here. So that's if we end up pulling back down, right? Going to have to see what happens there. But yeah, I don't really want to FOMO into a long position at this point. I'd rather wait for a proper pullback on something like that, just because, again, just losing this kind of structure here, even if we get a bounce here, I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of a rejection. We might just blast right through. Absolutely possible, but just understand that there's very likely going to be some resistance at these levels, even if it's just a short pullback, right? Even if we just got something like down to the 0.5 fib or just that smaller range fib, absolutely possible. But as far as a scalp entry, I think there's potential rejection here. But I would like to see us pull back down to these levels before going higher. Chaos saw the post of the tree tap. Yeah, that was pretty funny for anyone following along with my kiteboarding adventures. Accidentally sent it a little big and I was in the air until a tree got in my way. And I did what any snowboarder would do, and I just board slid the tree branch instead of getting all tangled up in it. So it worked out nice. Oh, so much fun. I got to catch up on some posts here. Yeah, I did see those photos earlier. That's sick. Um, oh yeah, Sam's on it, posting my socials. Thank you, brother. How is everyone else feeling about the market? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Anyone terrified, excessively bearish, and excited, scared, bullish beyond belief? Are you one of the moon boys who thinks like January 20th, we're going straight to a million kind of a thing? Like, what's everybody feeling?
I'll just say what I wrote in the chat. In all fairness, we had a bull run in early 2024 that and then ranged for 8 months. So it's entirely possible that Bitcoin could just sit in this range again until late 25. So just get your popcorn.
Man,
Watch
I
what.
I agree 100% because even if we get this kind of structure on the weekly, even if it doesn't mean that it's going to enter a bear market, but I still think that exact setup would lead to some sort of a correction. But it could just be an extended pause in the trend. That would actually be very healthy because Bitcoin would be staircasing higher and building structure along the way rather than just having these big gaps with no price action. It would be nice if it actually built some structure. But if we get
All right.
something
On
like that,
support.
I mean, same thing as right here, right? Same thing. We dropped out of overbought conditions. We broke our structure level here. We pulled back to the 786, 886. We got that bearish divergence on the RSI. And yeah, it never lasted forever. But this right here, I mean, that was the first time. Again, this was on the 4 hour chart where I first noticed this structure. Um, but basically, this whole uptrend here, we never did lose any of that immediate micro-analyzed higher low structure when waiting for those higher highs. Like you get the odd wick like this, but as soon as we got a close, I mean that structure break on a 4 hour turned into an 8 month pause in the trend. And my concerns are we did have something similar very recently, right? About a month ago. Basically, we had this little pause in the trend, had this high, this high, this high. So either way, no matter how you want to look at this, we lost structure, and ever since we've been struggling a little bit, right? Did we even get up to the Stuber fib? No, we never even got all the way up to it on this pump here. So, I mean, it is still possible we go higher. And again, maybe we haven't even begun to see what's going to happen. Maybe we get a crazy altcoin run still. Maybe it hasn't even begun. Absolutely possible. But it's just always better to be prepared for any scenario because, again, we can make our predictions, but at the end of the day, it's how you end up reacting to the price action that's going to make a difference in your trading. It doesn't matter if you're wrong. I mean, um, there's some amazing analysts out there or just people who analyze things correct all the time but have no idea how to actually trade that analysis, whereas you can have a trader who doesn't have a fucking clue what's going to happen in the market but they still can trade it phenomenally, right? And I always say I think it's way more important to be able to react than predict in this market. So I think just playing it for the structure that it is. I mean, as soon as structure starts changing, my biases are going to start changing. So we're going to have to see what happens here, I guess. Um, Climbing a little bit here. What is the trend master saying at this point? I assume there's still higher trending buy and sell signals. I'm actually going to change my stop loss back on this position. I don't want to be stopped out at break even because I didn't see that Stuber fib before. I'd rather take a small loss and just rather than accidentally get stopped out at break even there. Just because, again, we lost this little bit of structure here, I think it makes a lot of sense that we would end up pulling up to this box and then end up, at least getting some short-term targets or getting invalidated and stopped out. That's fine too, right? No trade setup is perfect. what matters most, I mean, everybody loses trades. Every trader is going to lose trades. It's managing those trades and managing that risk management. Like if you ever lose a trade, you're trading and you get upset, you're trading with too much money. That's all there is to it, because you should be able to survive many, many losses in a row before liquidating your account. These are all just looking for those tight invalidation setups, right? So yeah, you know what? There's the potential for this resistance or this structure break here. I think it makes sense that we would pull up to these levels and get some sort of at least a short-term correction. And if not, it's a small loss. I mean, I'm already in this position from earlier, but I just don't want to update my stop loss yet. So far, the Stuber Fibs are crushing it this year. I don't know. How's everybody's 2025 going so far? Hopefully you're all crushing it. I think so far 2025, what is it here? Pretty sure I have like a 68% hit rate so far. Let me just double check this. Yeah, 68.75% hit rate on my trades this year so far. That's pretty good. I'm happy with that. XRP, yeah, still not looking great. What's XRP looking like on the shorter time frames? Actually, I want to get onto the Blofin chart. Because that's the one I'm trading, and just in case a short it does look weak. What's the 5-minute looking like? Let's bust out the Trendmaster indicator. So we do have lower trending buy signals, lower trending sell signals on XRP on the 5-minute. That does look weak in my opinion. If we end up breaking above this structure back here at around 233.63, if we break above that, I think it makes sense that we'd end up printing probably a higher buy signal. Even if we pulled back, probably a higher sell signal, in which case it might be an early warning that, hey, the trend's reversing again. Where did we... I'm pretty sure this was a Stuber fib right here. So basically we had our low of this channel here, end up breaking it. So our low, lower low, lower high, we end up breaking that, pull back rather than FOMOing into a breakout, getting in there. But notice that the first target was already hit. So when it comes to Stuber fibs, although there is still potential support here on XRP, I'm less confident in entering a position down here for a long setup, just because it's already played out once technically. I like going, when I'm trading Stubers, I like going for that first move advantage kind of a thing. That so often you at least get some sort of a reaction test, if nothing else. People, the buyers start to at least test those levels, so you often get that reaction. But if we start testing it again and again, then I'm going to lose faith in that level holding. Yeah, he wicked right to the 786,886 fib pocket on that tree. That is correct. I probably hit the I'd say I probably hit 78.6% of the way towards the top, if I were to guess. If I were a betting man, and I definitely am. Washington got about 7 to 8 inches of snow. Crazy. Yeah, to us that's just another day in the winter, but yeah, chaos. I agree. Not used to seeing such wild fluctuations in the wallets. Yeah, exactly. When looking at non-leveraged stuff, I mean, so many of the altcoins are so volatile right now. I'm personally only going to sell the next rally at the 786 if we get that weekly structure break. If we bounce from where Bitcoin got to so far and we don't actually break this structure, I'll feel very different about it. Right now, this bearish Stuber is not actually in play at this point. It only becomes an actual Stuber if we end up dropping this green support here and then bouncing. If we drop that and bounce, I will be very bearish. If we just bounce from here, I'm gonna continue. Trend is your friend. Stu and his buddies getting ready. Yeah, that looks about right. Is it okay to DCA into redacted? I assume that's a altcoin of some kind. Let me just. Oops. Or am I not looking at that right?
It's on the DEX.
Okay, let me just. Verify I'm human. I am not. I'm an animal. Redacted. What do we got going on here? Not a ton of structure. So here's what concerns me about this chart is actually one sec. No, that wasn't really. See, even right here, we held this higher low here because we had this high. Let me get out the brush. We had this high and we had this higher high. That's our higher low, and we actually ended up holding that as support, just kind of trending higher. But we ended up losing a lot of those higher low structure levels. So I have my concerns about this price action. Like, to me, it looks like a strong downtrend started there. I would want to see a break of a lower high and then some sort of a bullish Stuber pullback for myself. Because I think it's quite possible that we just keep setting lower lows, lower highs. And just to kind of show you what I mean is right here we had a low and we technically just set a lower low right here. So now the highest point between the two, this is the lower high structure that I need to see broken to think that this downtrend has ended. And the thing with that is, like I was saying earlier, quite often when you end up getting a structure break like that, you still get that pullback to those lower fibs, right? And that's the kind of ideal setup that I like looking for. Yeah, obviously at any time we could reverse if you're more into DCAing and you like the project or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's better buying in here rather than at the FOMOing into all-time highs, obviously. It totally depends on your risk management or your risk appetite more so. But I do have my concerns. That's on the 1 hour. Let's check out the 5 minute. See, so even this was not a lower low here. So I guess technically very micro. It may have found I mean, it did find a little double bottom, but that could have played out already. The 5 minute, I have my concerns about. The 15 minute, I have my concerns about. No structure has been broken or anything yet, but That one's tough for me to say. I don't have a clean opinion about it, to be honest. I think the 1 hour, like on coins like this, I would like to see some decent structure on the 1 hour, and I just have my concerns with the 1 hour right now, is all. Um, just looking for random trend lines, something like that too. Maybe if we could reclaim something like that, that might end up flipping from resistance into support because it already was support for 3 perfect touch points. It's not so much that I'm just pulling a random trend line right here. It's the fact that it does have 3 valid exact touch points before breaking below. So that's kind of why I have my concerns there as well. That if it does hold that support as resistance, I mean, this downtrend could continue, right? So it's just risky is all. But if it's something that you're looking at buying anyways, I mean, yeah, at least it's had a nice correction, right? I mean, what has it pulled back here? Almost a 60% correction to the downside. And I mean, that's quite typical, right? Just because it drops 60% doesn't mean anything crazy when you're looking at these low cap coins. Like, what is this, a $23 million market cap? So it's obviously a very small, very young coin. So I don't know anything about it, obviously, but I just have my concerns about the 1 hour trend right now. Portfolio trackers. Thanks for that, Jeff, by the way. Portfolio trackers. I just kind of bounce between all my accounts and kind of have an idea of how much I have on hand of different coins and stuff like that. I do it the old school way and do it manually. I should probably just get something like that. Like, I think a lot of people, I don't know if people still use like Yahoo Finance and stuff like that.
Dude, that's so 1981.
Hey, I know a few. The only reason why I say that is because I know that several friends and family still show me things on Yahoo Finance. I'm so prehistoric that I don't even use that stuff. A true degenerate right here. What can you do though? $5.4 trillion asset manager Fidelity says nation, states, and governments will be the next significant investors that might add Bitcoin to their portfolios. Probably nothing. So here's my concern, and actually something interesting. Look where we're starting to struggle a little bit. Something that concerns me with Bitcoin right now and where we are in the market cycle that I actually never mentioned yet, and I meant to, was that I'm starting to see some red flags. I had mentioned with XRP, I had a whole bunch of non-crypto people texting me, phoning me, reaching out, messaging me about XRP and Bitcoin. It's been happening a lot more lately. And on top of that, I think more so, is that a lot of people are starting to go straight into leverage. That's people who are normally holding stocks are looking at selling their stocks to buy options. They're looking at instantly throwing a bunch of leverage into crypto and stuff, even though they've never had crypto before. Starting to see stuff like that. There's a lot of large businesses and things, a lot of large companies who are starting to talk about, just like Trump, strategic Bitcoin reserves and stuff like that. I almost get the impression that people are trying to be the next Michael Saylor, but understand that what he did was he did what he did and accumulated a shit ton and whatnot at the start, at basically the lows of the last bull market, right? Like or bear market rather, two cycles ago. And I mean, the fact that last cycle, when people started jumping on board with the whole borrowing and lending and paying crazy interest rates and stuff like that, when we saw that, what did we see happen? We saw Three Arrow Capital, Luna, Terra, and Voyager. We saw all those companies just get absolutely crippled because so much FOMO happened at the all-time highs of the market cycles. And I feel like now, someone like Michael Saylor, who has done it since earlier days and from earlier levels in the market cycle, he's able to survive a bear market, where I think a lot of these companies are FOMOing in just like a lot of retail traders do. And I think a lot of them are going to be starting to borrow and lend and use leverage and stuff like that and start doing this sort of thing. But it's going to be near the all-time highs. And I think that's going to basically cause a bear market again. But we're going to have to see, right? I mean, every bear market's going to be different. I'm just starting to see those red flags that the FOMO is starting. That doesn't necessarily mean that it's over today or tomorrow, as I was saying. It's just something to keep on the radar, that I'm starting to hear more about it. People that I'm not expecting to know about crypto whatsoever are asking me about Bitcoin and XRP all the time. So just something to consider there. Yeah, all your normie friends are starting to talk about Bitcoin. They fear the volatility. They want it to dump? Hmm. Like not because they own it or want to buy it, but they just want to see it fail? Or, they do want to buy lower. Okay. Fair enough. Because I know a lot of people who just want to see it fail just because they don't understand it or just don't like it. But yeah, wanting to buy lower. And that's the thing. Like, I would love to buy back lower. I hope we do get a big move to that. Actually, I don't care. Either way, you know what? If we end up finding support here, I think AI coins again are going to go absolutely nuts. And if we get some sort of a crazy altcoin cycle yet, because this market cycle isn't over, and a large part of me thinks that it isn't over yet, then I think there's a lot of gains to the upside yet. But yeah, I mean, if we go to the downside, it's good to be ready for anything, right? I mean, the market doesn't care about our feelings. It's going to do what it's going to do. Like this trade, there's a good chance I get invalidated and stopped out, but we'll just see what happens. It would be amazing if we see 48K again. Honestly, it really depends where this market cycle ends, right? Because wherever it ends, I strongly believe we're going to a bullish Stuber fib of the entire cycle, right? Let's just remove all my drawings here. Like, let's just pretend. And guys, I don't think it's the end of the market cycle, but let's play pretend here and say it is. I would assume that the bull market would drop to somewhere around 30K. That would not surprise me at all. Oh, here, the Stu Bear fibs. Absolutely. And again, this isn't something that I'm seeing at this point. It's just one thing to consider, that if it becomes very clear that we're in a bear market and we have corrected more than 50% and that sort of thing, I will very much so be eyeing up these levels. But that's all theoretical, right? Again, just being prepared for anything. But if the price goes higher, then so does the bear market price, right? I think basically I'm just going to be following the price. Right now, that's where it ends. But you know what? If we go up to 220, for example, then I think next market cycle will bottom probably somewhere around 48 in that case, right? And just to show you what I mean, why I think that would be entirely possible in that case is just how many times it's happened in the past. Actually, let's start from basically the beginning of Bitcoin's history here. I don't think it would. Well, I guess technically right here, our first pump ever had the full retrace there. where do we start getting our first one? Basically right here, right? This is on the logarithmic chart, so the fibs are going to look funny, but that's just so that the chart looks natural. But yeah, notice that even when we got to this top here and we saw our first big significant pullback, it was right back to the 786, and that pullback was actually 82%. So it doesn't look like much on this chart, but that 1 week candle was an 82% correction. Going from there, let's just pull a new fib, something like that. Notice where we end up bottoming out that market cycle, right in that 786, 886 fib pocket. Where do we end up going the next cycle? Let's pull from that bear market bottom up to that 20K market cycle top. A lot of you were probably around for that even. Notice where we end up getting our market bottom, right in the middle of that 786, 886 fib pocket. So from there, let's pull our fib from that bear market bottom up to here. Look where that bear market bottomed out, right around that 786 fib. So there's a reason why I'm pointing out these fibs, right? It's not just for all fun and games, and why I'm saying that in a bear market, I think we would target significantly lower levels. Every market cycle has pulled back to the Stuber fib, every single market cycle so far. So I assume the next market cycle will be no different. Everyone likes to say this market cycle is going to be different, BlackRock, bigger money, etc., etc. Every single market cycle has waves of exponentially bigger players getting into the game. My concern, honestly, with the next market cycle is, when governments and hedge funds and BlackRock and all these crazy, when the biggest players in the world are already in it, at what point do we end up seeing a bit of a dot-com bubble burst because we don't have bigger players getting into the space? I don't think it'll necessarily be that, because Bitcoin's basically programmed to outperform the dollar. But I think our days are limited of parabolic bull runs, at least, depending on money printing and stuff like that. But I'm just curious to see, with the biggest players in the world getting into the game now, who's the next bigger players. And yeah, basically governments are kind of the only thing left, but they're already starting. They were already starting last cycle. So yeah, just a couple of concerns there. But other than that, I mean, every market cycle, everyone likes to say this cycle's different. I mean, I heard that last cycle. I heard it the cycle before. You always hear that this cycle's different because every cycle is different. But the structure basically acts the same. You still end up getting the same pullbacks to those 786, 886. So yeah, I'm not saying that we're topped at this point, but wherever we do top, I would fully expect us to retrace to the 786 once again, or very close to it. And the thing is, you guys, as traders, we shouldn't matter, or we shouldn't care which way the price goes. It should not matter. Honestly, I have a lot of fun shorting in bearish trends. I think there's something very satisfying from making money on the moves down, and as well, they typically play out very fast. So there's a lot of money to be made. Obviously, there's a cap of how much you can make, sort of thing, because something can only crash 100%, whereas in a bull market things can go up infinitely, right? So there is that. But like I said, bear markets are fun too. And honestly, as far as the market makers want to push the price to the downside, just going to play it for what it is. That's why I say it's better to be reacting than predicting, because if you have predictions, that's fine. But if you don't have a system in place for invalidations or having a backup plan if you're wrong or anything like that, the worst thing you can do for yourself is getting married to an idea and saying, no, this is happening no matter what because I see all these reasons it has to. It doesn't necessarily matter, right? Especially when it comes to analyzing fundamentals and trying to understand the economy. If you're trying to gain an edge on trading because, let's say, you're technicals aren't great, or you're just having a rough time with execution and you're having a hard time trading, in my opinion, one of the worst things you can do is try and find an edge by listening to the media or looking at fundamentals, because it's so much easier to make a mistake trying to analyze the entire global economy than it is to look at a few colorful lines on a screen. I think it's significantly easier to just come up with a proper trading strategy, but people would rather read the news and look too far into fundamentals rather than just backtesting a chart setup over and over and doing vigorous backtesting to come up with a proper well, like I said, a lot of people can analyze but can't trade, right? So you need to do enough backtesting that you come up with an actual entry exit strategy that you can repeat on a regular basis. Otherwise, as you make money, yes, everybody gets lucky sometimes, but if you don't have an executable entry and just taking positions, trade setup, period, you're going to end up giving all your profits back. That's all there is to it. You need something that's systematic. And honestly, that's why I love fibs so much. It's very systematic. It's I think this support is more important than this support, or this support resist area has been touched more times, or whatever. There's so much room for interpretation with that, or trading, chart patterns and that sort of thing. Whereas fibs, it's just kind of, for a guy like me, I mean, I like to keep it simple and just, hey, here's my structured levels. Here's my entries. Here's my take profits. Boom. It's laid out for me with a simple fib pull. Either it's going to work or it's not. That's all there is to it. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Looks like we are starting to correct again a little bit. I'm hoping that pushes down. I am going to wrap up here right away. But first... Imagine the U.S. government getting a margin call. Oh my God, can you imagine? PP poo poo rocket coin is your backup plan. Yeah, I mean, fair enough. That seems to be how all the cool kids are doing it these days. So I don't actually have a video specifically, or do I? I might have one that mentions a part of it. The thing is, there's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of fibs, like Stuber fibs, that look very similar. Like I said, with the structure changing back here, might have even caused a little bit of a difference. I haven't made a video specific to it. I mostly just kind of show through examples and, live examples, looking at things that I'm looking at for the future. For example, obviously this one that I've already pulled here that I was talking about. But yeah, I mostly just teach by example, and obviously people in my mentorship get a more in-depth version of it, I suppose you could say. I was thinking about making a video about it, but I don't want to accidentally miss something in it or something. I might consider starting to throw one together. We'll see how I feel. Another thing is, I mean, if I just give you a few minute video on how to do it, what's going to keep you coming here? Then I'll be lonely. Yeah, actually, that's a good point, Sam. Thank you. Last week, I gave a lot of examples, and yeah, I was talking fibs the entire stream, basically. Any chance you can find that and share that, Sam? Actually, I can. Here.
Hey.
This one. Give too much credit to the DX. Ah. Too much. Oh, I closed it. Whoops. Yeah, either way. That one I definitely talked fibs a lot. So, yeah, check that one out if you're interested. And that's the thing, right, Sam, is, yeah, And that's the thing, right? Is like it's not so much that I just want to teach you my strategies and how I look at the charts and stuff. Like, yeah, that's great, but obviously everybody sees things differently and everybody catches different things with their eye easily. But I'm just hoping that, even if you have your own trading strategies, maybe there's just one missing piece of the puzzle and you just kind of catch something out of something I say that it just makes all the difference with your strategy, or just makes it a little bit more consistent or something like that. That's really the big hopes here. Yeah, and as Adrian said, that's Investopia is really good for that kind of stuff. Actually, I haven't gone there in quite some time, quite a few years, but yeah, I know that's they got some good information on there. Um,
Yeah, consider like a Wikipedia for crypto or trading.
yeah, absolutely.
So there are some new people here, and just for you guys, for your knowledge base, one of the ways to advance your understanding of all these things is to just watch different people. There are lots of great people here. There are lots of other great people. I have the people that I watched when I was growing up in trading, learning at the beginning. You're always learning. Learning at the beginning, there are some people that I still watch today because they're so fundamentally solid. That's the theme between all the people that I watch is that there are no gimmicks. It's all a process. There are basics. You have to stick to them all. And
Absolutely. And like honestly, anybody, myself included, we're all still learning. Like you just pick up on little things here and there. Everybody is a student of the markets because it's constantly changing, right? You have to adapt. There's no way around
the
it.
more time you spend on it, the more you'll get back from the market.
Yep, absolutely. And eventually the market just crushes your insides, crushes your soul, and then you just carry on business as usual, but then it gets easier.
It does, and a lot of the worry that you have when you're uninformed or uneducated on it, then that stuff goes away. It makes it a lot easier. It's like opening up a whole new world. So I
Absolutely.
suggest just watching people chart things as much as you can.
Yep.
Helps you find your own style too.
Well, and that's exactly it, right? Because um, there's every coach in here has their own trading styles, and everyone has their own thing. Like I said, everyone catches things differently with their eye and that sort of thing. So, what works for me might not work for you, and what works for you might not work for me. It doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means, hey, maybe we have a totally different execution plan or whatever. Um, and that's all there is to it, right? Because we could have the same charts, the same levels mapped out, the same fibs, the same trend lines, same indicators, same settings, absolutely everything, and I guarantee we're going to trade it completely different.
Right? And people nowadays are so lucky. Have all of Stu's channel. You have all of the MDX channel. Like, go watch Max do TA from years ago if it's still up there. I don't know, but I'm sure it still is.
Yep,
Just because he's not live doesn't mean you can't watch him. And
absolutely.
you'll see the thing that I learned most from Max over time was the three outcomes. That's it. It's either going to go up, sideways, or down. And watching him chart things over and over, he explains fundamentals every time. You do too, Stu. And
Absolutely.
to just bang it into your subconscious is what you got to do. Things just click at the most random times.
Yep. Well, and that's why I always joke, right? That I say, um, it's still important. Like, let's say, yeah, you can watch how I look at these one stream and be like, oh, I now understand super fibs. Whereas there could be a lot of things that either never played out in my stream or I never touched on or whatever. Just something could be slightly off. But also, just like I said, I really only like them that first time, and until you get really fast at noticing that structure. Um, Often you won't be getting in until, let's say, the second test of a super fib, for example, and then at that point it's a totally different trade, right? So the more you see it, the more you're going to see it. Like, I still notice myself catching it more and more, and as I always always joke in these streams, like, I see them everywhere now, and buildings that are different heights, trees that are different heights, people that are different heights. It's like, oh yeah, there's a 786 right there. There's an 886. Like,
You're measuring people's height, like
yeah,
comparatively to people.
yeah,
You're like, well, the 2-3, his son's a 2-3-6, and he's at the 7-8-6.
yeah. Let me guess
She's
your
at
height here. You're about
5,
786.
right? How tall are you? I'm about a 7-8-6.
Yeah.
So when you any of these tokens on I'm talking about that and get yourself up to $200 of free crypto.
Sorry, what's that? I didn't. I gotta turn up your volume a bit. Sorry, could you repeat that? Oh, $50. He's gone. We lost him.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Oh well.
Did you forget to upload last week's stream on the Academy?
So I have been having an issue lately where my what is it, Vimeo, it's not allowing me to upload for some reason. I gotta shoot Mike a message and see if I need a new invite or something. I don't know, it won't, like, I go into my account and none of the MDX stuff is there, so I can't upload my stuff to it. So so for now, you guys, for now, I do have my own YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe there, and I always upload these there. They get here before the Academy either way. They upload faster here. So I do post all of these streams here, as well as my shorter videos and stuff like that. StuTube Trading, all one word. So yeah, give me a follow, and if you ever miss these streams or anything, you can always catch them there if you miss a chunk of it or whatever. But yeah, I gotta shoot Mike a message and see if he can figure anything out for me or something there.
Dude, I just think of it. I've been watching your streams for 3 years. That's crazy.
You are one of the OGs of people to ever watch me in this channel. What was that? That'd be like 2.5 years ago, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you came in 2022?
Yeah. Back then, I think I was the only person streaming at that time.
Yep. I mean, unless you consider Max, but yeah.
Yeah,
obviously.
Was it?
Yeah, back then. There was no Academy,
Yeah.
It was still great, but man, people today, if you signed up, welcome. This place is something else.
This group just keeps getting bigger and better. The indicators are constantly getting better. Community's constantly getting stronger. More events, like, it's just getting better and better.
Yep.
Yep. All right.
Let's see what the Asians are doing.
Also,
looks like they're buying. All of my watch list turned green suddenly.
Get out of here. Another thing, no pressure at all, you guys. Just something I want to throw out there is Blofin is currently, they just started giving me this promotion. Even if you just want to take advantage of it for the week or two or however long this goes here, there's a deposit trading bonus. You have to have a certain size deposit into your account, and you need to trade a certain amount of volume, but you can get some pretty crazy bonus rewards here. When does it run? Till January 17th. So if that's something that interests you, by all means, feel free. No pressure. But also, when you use my link as well, this is more permanently, but you do get 20% of your cash back on your trading fees. Obviously not the whole position. It's 20% cash back on the trading fees. But yeah, cool little promotion that they just threw up for me yesterday. So check it out if that interests you.
Next time you talk to them, ask them if they can get ready for window trading so we can bot trade on there.
Yeah, that would be good.
That would be awesome.
I will actually ask my connection there right after I wrap this up. I'll just ask him if he knows anything about that or can look into it at all. Because, yeah, that would be sick.
Yeah, imagine those fees and those ref links from you. And a
Yeah, fuck
skyrocket,
yeah.
mate.
That'd be all right, hey?
No
Yeah.
pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. I don't like bullying people into things, so. um, I have not looked into options expiry. Ooh, full moon in a week. We don't have. Fuck, what was his name? Bobby. Bobby was always analyzing the moon. Haven't seen him in a while.
Oh, I like the moon cycles.
Yeah, that was good. That was always entertaining.
Oh, that's
Max Payne is 80.
like the horoscope of trading.
Yep.
Yeah, no, exactly. Max Payne of 80, that would take us down. Yeah. I don't
Next dog I
I,
get,
I want
that's
to
going to
see
be
how the
Steve.
chart forms. Like, so if we end up dropping significantly lower, here's basically my thoughts.
Oh, here goes Bear Boy Steve again.
If we, if actually I think the level was higher than that. Where was that? Well, wherever that weekly level ended up, let's just say this is probably right around that weekly support. If we lose that level, it's one thing if we go like this and then we bounce. And at that point, I would be getting very bearish as we approach a Stuber fib like that. If, however, we drop that structure and form another lower low quickly, then we can invalidate that trend quicker. So this is one of those things where even though if we break that level, I hope we drop down further first so that we could invalidate some sort of bearish structure like that. And at that point, I would want to see a pullback and then carry on higher from there. I think that would actually be much more bullish if we got that 2 pushes below support, because then we have structure to break. Whereas if we just do our 1 break down below, our lower high at that point, or our high between this low and this low, is still way up here. So that's a very far away invalidation in that point. Whereas, if we do get, like I said, that double push, then we can break some structure like that. I'd be a lot more confident in longing something like that in that case. So that's where structure could, one of those cases where structure can look very, very similar, but be completely different. I would, Chaos, to answer your question, I would see that as a swing fail, and I would be looking at that bounce. The thing is that 786, that would already be the target of that long position, right? If I get a swing fail to the downside, I'm still, whenever I enter a position, I'm looking at playing the range first, this being the range. So I would be looking at playing the range first and hoping for a breakout after that. So yes, with a swing fail, something like that, I absolutely see the opportunity for a long there, but I don't think it would necessarily mean all-time highs. I think we would still have this bearish structure on the longer term time frame, and I think the bounce would end up having some troubles. And obviously it doesn't have to happen, right? Maybe that swing fail happens and we do just absolutely moon. It's just that, then on the weekly, we would have lost this little bit of structure here. And if we lose that, because that's just a typical Stuber fib setup, right? Whether it's a weekly chart or a 5-minute, that's basically the way I look at this. If we got this break, I would be looking for shorts up here. That's all there is to it. Even if I looked at playing this long first and playing the long up to there, I would be hedging shorts up here if I was in that position. That's how I'd be looking at it. And that's kind of why I say I'd be bearish at that level. Take a look at Mocha USDT Bybit on the 15-minute. Yeah, see, like, I'll tell you what they know. They know how to read a Stuber fib. Just kidding. I don't know for sure, but at a quick eyeball, I would say that's where the structure break happened, right? Because we were just basically setting lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low, lower low. We end up breaking that lower high, and where do we pull back to? Boom. So that was actually a beautiful entry. When was that? Oh, that was, well, why'd you leave it until the end of the stream?
Sneaky.
But yeah, that's a perfect 786 test there. And the fact that now it even broke this level here, that's where I'd be looking at. So even if you're trying to get into an entry and you don't want to FOMO long or spot buy or whatever into a breakout, I mean, that's where I'd be looking at chasing the price again. And there's no guaranteeing it's going to pull back. It's just that when I go for entries, I really like to see that pull back first. So being that we broke this high back here, downtrend was already broken. Then we set a higher high. So if we pull back, this would be my higher low that I'm looking for. So I'd be looking at support somewhere around this purple box here. But if the price keeps going up, then that fib is going to rise a little bit too, right? Just reacting to the price. But yeah, that's a nice break in the trend there. That looks beautiful to me. As far as spot buying, I mean, yeah, I think it looks like that might form a nice trend. So as far as leverage goes, I'm always a little pickier on my entries. But as far as spot buying, like, yeah, if this is something that you're desperate to get into, kind of a thing, you want to buy it. I mean, at least it did break a downtrend there, right? So the favor is on the side of the bulls, in my opinion, at this point. Still haven't flipped to a buy signal or anything, but just structure based. I mean, yeah, I think it makes sense that it would get a breather too, right? Because it did have this absolutely heinous downside move.
It already retested daily open too.
Oh yeah, yeah, with this pullback back or
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. Even the downside movement, honestly. Like obviously here we had our upward trending sell signals, we had our upward trending buy signals. That ended up reversing here, right? How long was that going? That was rough. So our higher buy was back here. Got a nice little move to the upside, but then here where we got our lower buy signal, that's your warning, right? It's warning that, hey, things are looking weak, and then lower sell signal and just absolutely nuked from there. So honestly, quite beautiful price action on this thing. The fact that it tested the 786 absolutely perfectly there. I mean, it's all very healthy price action in my opinion.
But it is Animoca, right? So it's no wonder that they know what they're doing there.
Yep. Yeah, I think so. What is the market cap on this guy? Yeah, I'll look that up later. I think holy smokes, we've been here for like an hour and a half. Time flies when you're having fun. How's everything looking? Still struggling a little bit, but oh, it's really trying to break through that resistance that I have. Actually, I want to keep that up because if we pull back, I want to keep my eyes on a potential long. I'm not saying I'm going to get it, but you know what? If we do, I would consider hedging some sort of a long down there. See, again, even this, if we just look at this immediate trend here, notice we lost this higher low. I love micro-analyzing. But notice that where those candle bodies stopped, right? Right in that fib pocket.
Stu, I was talking about your 5 second and 15-second Stuber fib scalping strategy today.
Oh, fuck. Here we go. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go for the radio.
Yeah.
You like my social?
If I could ever give any good financial advice, you should be high leveraging trading the 5 to 15 second chart. Please don't use that as financial advice.
With your head under a guillotine.
Yeah. Yeah, what do we got going?
Only way to do it.
Check out the 15 second here. Oh yeah, look at all those signals all over the place here. Oh, he's still got upward trending buy signals. Look at that. I don't know. I personally don't enjoy trading the 15 or 5 second chart. Well, I shouldn't say that. Let's check out the 5 second. Yeah, honestly, like that's the thing too is even when I trade like the 1 minute and 5 minute and stuff, more so the 1 minute and lower. Understand that is not for everybody. Honestly, most people should avoid trading extremely
Nobody should
small
do that,
time
really.
frames. I personally, I feel safer trading the 1 minute, but I have my invalidations. I have my setups. I have very structured plans. That's okay. But most people, and especially if you're not fast at setting orders or making decisions like that, you know, if you're trading even a 1 minute chart and you hesitate for, you know, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, or a minute or so, I mean, it could be a completely different trade. Like it could be a
It can be
completely different
completely
trade.
awesome or completely horrible.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you can be like, hey, I'm gonna enter here, and oh, the price just changed $200. Now it's a completely different entry, but I'm gonna take it anyways, and then you end up getting wrecked. Well, you know that happens. You know that's why a lot of people shouldn't trade the shorter time frames. You know, for a lot of us who are scalping actively a lot, I mean, I assume you guys are like me, where you can set an order very frickin' fast on the go, and
Oh my goodness, you didn't know? Dude, yeah, when I call an order on the 1 minute, man, I am like trying to get that done in about 4 seconds,
yep,
as
exactly.
hastily as possible. See it, start telling my computer through my fingers, go do this, go do this, go do this, and then you're trying to smash that button in a smooth but rapid fashion. Yeah,
Yep,
there's a style to it for sure. It's kind
absolutely.
of crazy.
Yep. Yeah, like exactly. I can whip out the phone or whatever and have the app open, trade set, stop loss set, take profit set within probably 20 seconds or whatever. And that's kind of what you need to do, unless you have a trade strategy where you do, you know, you're able to set your orders ahead and stuff. And, but yeah, to each their own, right? Basically, what I'm getting at is understand that if you're trading ridiculously degenerate short time frame charts, like what I like to bring up, just understand that there's added risk there. That sometimes you think you're going to get into a position, and all of a sudden things have changed, and you know sometimes you hesitate for that minute, and it's completely different. So you have to reevaluate or whatever. And that's why I don't like trading the 5 second or the 15 second chart, because honestly, 10 seconds later, I mean, that trade is come and gone, like very likely
Can't
anyways.
even imagine trying to open at the exact level that I want on a 5 or 15 second chart because it's really can be nerve wracking when there's a lot of volatility. It can be nerve wracking just trying to get in on the 1 minute,
Oh,
you
the heart
know.
can't take that.
So like we all know you put your trade down on the screen and then the candle moves and you have to decide, am I gonna chase that price action or you have to know going into that if that happens,
Yeah,
like will I chase it? I have that question already answered. If the answer is no, then I just let the price go because I will lose that. I could possibly lose that trade because of that mistake. You know, it's
absolutely.
hard. I never think about it because I'm so used to doing it, but yeah, it is. It could be stressful. It was stressful at the beginning, I guess.
Yeah,
Now it's part of the deal.
absolutely. You know, I'm still really tempted to take a lower leverage long, just because of that support there.
Yeah.
Just like Chaos was saying, is that does look like a little liquidity grab for this, right? Because we had our structure break here, we pulled back. Yeah, we pulled back past the Stuber fibs and more so like a swing fail there.
Put the liquidity on it too before you do it. Like the heat map.
I don't have that ready to go or anything. I don't want to be, or I have these.
Already dumped it in the chat there, buddy.
Oh, look at you.
Always
DJ's gonna
prepared.
DJ. I can't let you not do that.
Right?
You.
Give me a second here. I just want to check out these first. Liquidations, mostly to the upside. I only have the 50 and 100x leveraged liquidations on the chart right now. But notice they are all kind of to the upside.
Look at those levels too.
At this point.
Look at those psychotic levels. That's funny.
Yep.
Come and get it.
Can you see this? The heat map?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, the heat map.
Nope.
No? Okay, one sec. I did just throw it over my screen. I guess I have the window saved, not the There we go.
Mm-hmm. See how that looks in the morning.
There's a lot below us.
Yep.
There is a lot below us.
Not much above either.
Oh, just fucking with shit here. No, not much above. Interesting.
More reason to go higher then, no?
I mean, I don't use these as much as a lot of people in the group, so I don't want to accidentally give any wrong information. I don't know if this is more so showing that we have large orders causing going for support, or if that's more so liquidity that we're going to grab to the downside. Anyone have a solid interpretation of that one?
This is clear.
Is that 4 hours still it concerns me. Like, I do think that we'll see a little bit of a bounce right here, but I still think that it's going to be short-lived. I'm just a little bit nervous that we have these downward trending indicators here. I wouldn't be surprised that we do bounce first, but I have my concerns about this trend. I have my concerns. Anyways, guys, I think I want to get going here. We've been at this for almost 2 hours. Holy smokes. Thank you so much, you guys, for sticking with me here.
Yeah, buddy.
Love doing these with you guys, but it's that time. I'm starting to get hungry.
There's a lot. Hey, man.
Getting hungry. Gotta pee. Gotta go make sure my shack still works. I got a lot of big things planned right now, so yeah, hopefully you guys took something useful out of this stream. I know I enjoy doing these with you guys. Hopefully, I mean, I can tell most of you guys keep coming back, so hopefully you like them. But yeah, always like, hearing your guys' thoughts on the markets and just honestly talking through my own thoughts. It definitely helps me keep a level head, so I appreciate you guys coming here all the time, and it's awesome. Love doing these with you guys. So for anybody who is watching this later on my YouTube channel, if you want access to my favorite indicators on TradingView, as well as being a part of these live streams with the MDX ALGO community, getting involved with the VIP Discord and that sort of thing, so much good alpha in the group. It's so good. So many, like, we're all learning in there. There's everybody has their own things that they're into, and man, there's just so many good, even those micro meme coins and stuff. There has been some seriously amazing shout outs in there, so appreciate each and every one of you and love being a part of this community. So if that's something that interests you, I do have a 10% discount in my description down below for joining the group. And like I said, getting my favorite indicators out there. I also, as I mentioned, I do currently have this promotion going with Blofin until January 17th. If this is something that interests you, check it out. Go check out my my Twitter, StuTube Trading, all one word. Check it out there. Yeah, with that, I think that's about all I wanted to go over. So thank you once again. And with that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.